They say education guarantees a better future, but is that really the case in today's day and time? I mean, today, is it about hustle or about certificates? Wasn't it recently that a popular streamer dropped out of school just after 3 days because it interfered with his money-making skills? Anyways, today we're about to find out whether or not school really pays as much today as it used to. This is Fafanua Afrika, the show that spotlights the youths, their challenges, their opportunities, and tries to prefer some profound solutions to some of the challenges that they face. My name is Blessings Mosugu, and it will be 1 hour of an insightful conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's Fafanua Afrika. Now, I did say earlier before we went on that very short break that it is a dispensation where we cannot really tell where the money comes from. Is it the certificate or is it hustle? A lot of young people are now chasing fast money, and because of that, they really don't even want to go to school anymore. In fact, some parents would literally have their children drop out of school, then waste all that time going to school and not even getting a job at the end of the day. So today we want to find out what really pays. Does your certificate matter? I mean, ask yourself, when was the last time you really saw your university result? Or is it all about hustle? I have some amazing guests with me today on Fafanua Afrika, some amazing students and of course some experts as well to help us dissect the issue and find out what exactly pays. So let's go straight to the conversation, shall we? First question, what do you think pays more? Is it education or is it hustle culture? Who wants to go first?
Hi, my name is Timilade Alonge. I would want to say that education to success is like an hand to a means, just the same way the also culture is an hand to a means. So the fact that you are educated does not guarantee that you have everything it takes to excel or to be successful. And the fact that you want to adapt to the also culture does not also guarantee that you would be successful, because education is a leverage, and at the same time the act of hustling or you want to thrive, building yourself, would help you develop some skills that are not written or you will never be able to come across within the four walls of a school, such as grit, communication, not just communicating this time around, but the ability to manage things and converse. Also, the ability for you to see beyond the four walls of your school or when you're getting educated. And then another thing that I bear in mind is going to be thinking of it as, do we only take the four walls of the school as the form of education, or we really see the formal education and the informal education as the thing? So that's what I would say.
All right, thank you very much. Now, she made a salient point about it not just being about learning, but also about socialization. And then the argument would be, in the age and dispensation of social media, do you really need to go out to socialize? So we have a lot of people who are homeschooled and doing okay. There are people who don't even go to school, but they socialize a lot. So who wants to talk about that?
So, good afternoon, my name is Catherine Maburukaje, and I would say that there's a need to go out and physically socialize, because we do understand that we are in an era of social media where everything can be done online without even going out for anything. But then the feeling of a physical conversation with somebody is different from online, because then it's not as if we get the fact that there's video calls now, but then at the same time there's a way you can see someone and physically communicate with them instead of communicating online. So I think physical communication is better, not the most important part, but it is better than having an online conversation.
All right, thank you very much for that. So another question and something else I want to find out is the argument that education does not really guarantee a safe future here in Africa. So the question is, this challenge we face of not getting jobs after school, not really wanting to go to school, dropping out because there are better prospects, is it a geographical challenge? Are they doing better in other climes than here in Africa? Anybody wants to go?
Thank you so much for inviting me for this conversation. I am Jumoke, an emotional intelligence coach, and who can believe that I am a coach now, but I studied pure and applied chemistry in school. And from there, I became a video editor for 12 years. Nothing about what I learned in school. So yeah, is education important? Extremely, very important. But then what is the structure that has been put in place in our educational system? How are they teaching critical thinking? These are the things that will prepare you for success in the real world. When you come out, what are the people really teaching communication? How many of us went to school because we really wanted to study pure and applied chemistry? Most of them were projections from our parents. Oh, I want my daughter or my son to be a medical doctor. Then they push you in that light. Is that really who you are? Is that where you're meant to succeed? Now, even the lecturers, how many lecturers actually want to teach because their passion is to teach? A lot of them, it is a means of survival for them. I have to put food on my table. There is a lecturing job, so I have to take it. Now, imagine the psychological state of these lecturers who are already grossly underpaid. And then they come to class and pour and project all of their issues on you. And you're supposed to learn and prepare for the real world. I mean, come on, let's be practical here. It is just common sense. How many people are being prepared for critical thinking here right now? These are what companies are looking for. And I can't really blame people for saying, you know what, I don't want to go to school. I just want to learn the real things that will make me a successful person in the real world. How many of us are really studying what we really want to study? I mean, we're students right here. How many people? How many people? You are beautiful. 1 out of 100. Maybe. Okay, you're many, Congratulations, that's beautiful. But in the actual real world, how many people are studying what is actually aligned with their identity? What can actually position them for real life success? School would tell you what to think, but how many people are teaching how to think? I mean, there's advice everywhere. Do this, do that. But nobody is showing anybody how. And these are the real gaps that we have in our educational system. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to ask a follow-up question to that, and I realized that a couple of you did attest to the fact that you're actually studying what you want to study. I'll use myself as an example, right? I studied mass communications, and when I tell people, they say no wonder. But then there is the part of being practical and then the part of being theoretical, and that's the challenge that we have here in Nigeria. So how many people really believe that what you're studying now is practical enough for you to make use of all the information that you get at the end of your schooling?
Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Natalia, and I would just like to say that although the people who are going to make it are not people who study, that's the people who are educated, they're also not the people who just hustle. This is something that it's interconnected, it goes hand in hand. In the world where we live in today, where everything is fast changing, we have social media, entrepreneurship skills, and we have the online market, you cannot just say education will take you there, because as you said, we have like a whole lot of undergrowth. We have unemployment issues, we have underpaid workers who are like, everybody is just in a state of tension because there are a lot of things. There is the economy is under growth and everything. So I feel like it goes hand in hand. As a person, if you want to grow and if you want to be innovative, you have to be educated and also have skills. That is online skills that will take you to where you want to be. As a hustler, the main man, like the normal man, would only think hustling is to survive. You hustle to survive, that's it. You do not hustle to grow or to be innovative. While education systems, they are only theoretical, especially in Nigeria, but I think it's everywhere too. They are only theoretical in nature. You're not practical. You're not teaching us how, like she said, you're not teaching us how to do things. You're just telling us to do them. So I feel like if the educational system gives the practicalness of everything, if they give them more, if they focus on the practical issues more, I feel like we'll be better. Like unemployment issues and then being underpaid and everything, it would decrease in a very much noticeable way. Like it will noticeably decrease if we have the practical aspects more than the theoretical aspect. I feel like we'll be able to.
Anyone wants to contribute to that?
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Austin Precious from Nigerian Institute of Journalism. So, adding to what she said, I feel universities should be more practical. These days, when we look around, most youths are jobless because they don't do practicals in school. They are into more of theoretical things and all. And also internship and all, like. So I just feel when universities engage more on practical skills and or aside from being in the school, writing exams and writing on testing, educational level in this country would be better than it is.
All right, thank you. One more opinion on this.
I'm Balogun Daniel. So basically, I would say education basically is not something that will make you a better person if you do not study. Education only helps you when there is practical preparation or when there is practical usage or utilization. Education in Africa, or in Nigeria, basically is our parents taking us to school to know how to write our names, spell, know ABC, 1 to 100, 1 to 50. That is our parents' basis of education. None of us has ever gone to the market and said, okay, I learned quadratic equation, okay, I bought XYZ, what is my balance? We've never done that. We've never said, I can construct this type of sentence so that I should get this from you. Education is what makes you better than your neighbor if you practically utilize what you learn. And it's not just going to a classroom, learning from a chalk, from a blackboard and a chalk, learning from someone who knows better than you. It is you taking your time to educate yourself, to know more about something, what interests you, what is going on around you. That is proper education, not you sitting in a classroom waiting for the lecturer to come to the class, tell you, okay, there's this theory, this theory. How many engineering students can literally walk up to a mechanic and be, okay, I spent 6 years in university learning mechanical engineering. How many students can go to a shop and fix a car? Nobody can, but there are local mechanics, there are local workshops who didn't go to school, no certificate, but they will fix a car that has issues. I doubt that 100 students investing right now that would park a faulty car here and they would fix it. It's not possible. They only know the theories. They only know, okay, there's this engine, connect these wires, draw this diagram, do this, connect these engines, this is the chassis, this is the turbo. None of them can build a turbo from scratch. But then there are people without school, without classroom, who has this knowledge. So education is not a classroom something. It is what you educate yourself on. Education is not to be educated, but to practically utilize what you've learned and what you know. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, from this point he has made, I want to raise another question, and that is, should formal education alone qualify you as a perfect fit for a job in the society? For example, we talk about going through primary, secondary, and tertiary, but then there's skills acquisition. There are people who literally go to learn trade, and then they do good at it. People learn farming, and they do good at it. So the question is, should it just be your school certificate? Because, I mean, in this part of the world, we know that if you don't do your NYSC, they practically classify you as a misfit in the society, and you cannot get a civil servant job. But there are people who go learn farming, who are mechanics, who are engineers that are doing way better than civil servants. So should formal education alone classify you as a perfect fit in the society?
My name is Esther, and my answer to that question is, it's not only formal education that should give people the privilege to get jobs, but the harsh reality in Nigeria is not only formal education that allows people to get jobs. I mean, someone will walk into an organization and the first thing the person will tell them is, tell me how much experience you have. I mean, someone that is just graduating from the university, and you're telling them to show their experience. I mean, they've not even gotten a leverage for them to be experienced. Then you're telling them to show their experience. I just feel like the whole concept of education, or formal education, generally in Nigeria, let's take a look at it as a foundation. So now you have a foundation. The essence of a foundation is to give structure and stability to a building. You can't live on that foundation except there are walls, except you've done roofing, except you've done wiring. And that's the same thing with education. Now, education is the foundation. The walls itself, the wiring, the whole thing is the skills you've learned, the entrepreneurship skills, all of those skills. So now, formal education should not just be the leverage for you to get jobs in Nigeria. I mean, that's even the reality of Nigeria. You walk up to an organization and they're like, what skills do you have? What things have you done? Whereas you spent 9 years in school and you're just coming to face life and they're telling you to add another skill to it. So really, I just feel like formal education is not just enough. We need to add like skill acquisition to the whole thing.
Is anyone else? Okay.
The goodness, and prior to what she said earlier, I would support that motion. Now, education is not just the formal bedrock to whatever thing anyone wants to become in life or whatever thing anyone wants to build on in life. Now, we need this inbuilt and imbibed skills in us, yes, because education alone does not just come down to you learning and everything. You have to build skills. You have to know more outside what you might have learned in life, because there are certain places, certain things you might get to do, and one thing that would guarantee your access into a particular place or whatever thing is your ability, your capability, and what you have inbuilt inside of you, what you can actually prove that, okay, this particular thing, I was able to study it, I was able to work more on it. So I would say that formal education is not just the bedrock. You still have to go more, do more, and get to see the reality of life outside formal education. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Aderenike Akindele, and I would like to start with a little story. So when I got into university, the first thing I wanted to do was to create a LinkedIn account. And while I was creating this account, I saw soft skills, and I was concerned because as at that point in time, I did not know the meaning of a soft skill, and I had to research on what a soft skill could be. And I realized that we are going to a stage whereby the world is no longer concerned about what you learned in school. It's more about what you can do. It's not about what you know about it. It's about what you can do about it. Because, in the past, in Africa, in the past, we were just told to go to school, have the good grades and come out. There's a platform of job waiting for you, and you are getting into, even till now, your parents will tell you to study prestigious courses like law, medicine, and surgery, because they know that, they just want to tell their friends, she's a lawyer, D-law, you get. So I feel like we still have that mentality that go to school and come out and there's a job waiting for you. But in this period whereby we keep pumping out graduates, first-class graduates, we need to understand whether our structure, the economy, is ready to accommodate the brilliance we are pumping out. And right now, the structure we have in Africa, in Nigeria to be precise, is not enough to capture the essence of the intelligence we are pouring out to the society. So in a situation whereby we don't have the structure to hold this intelligence, what can we do on ourselves to actually portray to the world that we are ready? So I feel like the universities should stop teaching their students to be job seekers. Instead, they should teach us to be job creators. Because when you teach us what to do about our CV to apply, we would realize that the job economy is now more like a lottery, and our CV is like a ticket in this crowded lottery system. And so we need to work on ourselves to do for ourselves, because there are lots of skills you can earn. When people are asking, when you go into a job and they're asking for a job and they're asking you for your experience, they're not asking you to have that experience postgraduate. They're asking you, what did you do aside your studies while you were in school? Did you volunteer? Did you intern? And when you come out and you're saying, they did not give us the platform, they did give you the platform. You did not know how to look for the platform. Of course, our community might not, encourage meritocracy, but if you put in the work, I'm sure you would get volunteer. There are lots of volunteering opportunities. How well did you research? When you got into school, whether or not you were studying a course you wanted to, how well did you decide that after 4 years, after 5 years, after 7 years, this is what I want to do, instead of wasting your time lamenting that, I did not study the course I wanted to do? That is what I believe.
All right, thank you so much. I want us to hear from one of our experts on the matter.
If I get the question correctly, we're talking about if education alone guarantees employment. Personally, I would say that the concept of education now has been redefined in our current world, and I believe because the quality of education now is not how it's normally used to be, that a lot of us will agree that education is not alone sufficient for us to get an employment. And I will agree totally with what the last speaker says, as per a lot of us doesn't even look beyond the four walls of the school to gain opportunities, because whenever anybody is asking you that, what are you bringing to the table, it's not asking you something out of what your CV is saying. It's just saying how well have you utilized or how well have you built up the potential within the four walls of the schools. And education alone, I think, is sufficient and is not sufficient, and it depends on the definition you give to that education, right? I have even before completing my undergraduate, I got so many jobs even before completing because you've been able to put out capacity. And these skills that we're talking about, we can define them into two things. They are soft skills and they are hard skills. And as an employer of labor, as an entrepreneur, sometimes I look forward to people's soft skills rather than the hard skills. Reason is that hard skills are easy to learn. They're just systems. Just do A, B, C, D. But soft skills are something that if it goes beyond just the system, it goes with your background. It goes to where you're coming from. So those soft skills are things that you learn within the four walls of your schools. You learn outside the four walls of your schools, in the sense that now you have a group. How well do you perform in that group? How well do you communicate with them? How were you able to, what resourcefulness do you bring to the table to ensure that you guys are achieving opportunities? So if I'm seeing this person as someone that is goal-oriented, that can communicate his ideas clearly, and a lot of soft skills like that, I would rather work with that person, because I know that with that he has character, and with character, competence can easily be built. right? So, and it just keep going on and on and on. It talks about how many jobs do we have around in the ecosystem in terms of let's get into entrepreneurship and stuff. I'm sure that we're still going to go there, and I'm going to address that. But for now, I think education is sufficient and it's not sufficient, depending on what the angles at which you're looking at it from.
The first thing I want to challenge first is the form of our education in Africa. We are still practicing what the colonials handed over to us. And that is the root of the problem. I always like to go to the basis, because before you can understand anything, you have to understand the principles behind it. Yeah. And a lot of people spoke about soft skill. Firstly, we're asking people to give what they don't have. Our lecturers, our teachers are also the product of this flawed educational system. So we're asking them to teach us what they didn't understand. I went through this process. I will show you my own process. I can't give what I don't have. Okay, and then we spoke about soft skills. We said a lot of soft skills, but I feel like a lot of people, so I actually want to give it language. When we say soft skill, we're talking about collaboration. How much can you collaborate with others? We're talking about critical thinking. We're talking about self-awareness. We're talking about knowing your identity. We're talking about emotional intelligence. We're talking about cultural intelligence. How many of us really can go online, aside what we're learning, mass communication, yes, pure and applied chemistry, right here. But we can actually go online and say, I want to learn more about how to collaborate with people. Because I feel like, I know that what will get you into the room, even if they're asking for 10 years of experience, there is a way you would answer some questions. They will know that this is someone I want in my company. Yes, I do not have the experience that you're asking for, but I'm well grounded in myself. I know how to work with people. I know that I have the growth mentality, and I know that I will be an asset to your company. If you talk with such confidence to someone who wants to hire you, you think they won't think you are valuable? Of course they will. But first thing, I think we should even first challenge our educational system. I still keep saying this. We need to challenge a lot of things for us to actually acquire the results that we desire. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Sorry. I want us to quickly talk about something very important. Before we go back to the educational system, I have a question. Do you think that the employers of labor are our new problems? And I'll explain. Now, we've talked about how these days people are no longer looking at your educational qualification. They're looking at your behavior. And it's true, because the education system is all about character building and, of course, education. But then now you see employers of labor looking out for ridiculous things. I mean, some things are actually, it's okay to look out for audacity, like you said, to look out for punctuality. But some people go the extra mile. Maybe two people are sitting down and then one person tries to challenge the system. Like, what do you guys do? What do you have to offer? And they feel like you're rude. And they say, you know what? Regardless of whether you're or not you're first class, they don't care. They just hire the next person. Do you think that that is an insult to the education system? Because imagine going 5 years, 6 years in school, and then somebody, because you came 1 minute later than somebody who maybe dropped out, in secondary school, they feel like you're not a better fit.
Okay, my name is Igejobi Dokas. I feel that the employers of labors are not really the problem. We are the problem, because there is this thing I do see. Some people are book smart. You are not street smart. I mean, you're going out there and you can be vulnerable at every point in time. I mean, apart from school, there is this thing our parents do inculcating to us. I mean, how do you present yourself out there? Okay, I have an appointment scheduled for 10 o'clock. I am going there. I leave my home by 10 o'clock. And you know what these people are looking for. They want to see how committed you are, how early you get to that point. At times, it's not even about the job. They want to see how well you can handle the situations. How well, okay. I don't know. I just feel that they are not the problem. The problem starts with you. The problem, train yourself in a way that when you go out there to seek for a job, I mean, people will be, oh, okay. It's not even only the school alone. What can you think? Can you think beyond the outside of that organization? Oh, okay, you have an emergency and somebody called you, you're already like panicking and all. Calm down. I mean, calm down. Train yourself. Be the employer are not actually the problem, actually.
I have viewed situations or life in two sides, right? Such a scenario of an organization that you've mentioned can be categorized as like being not really a good company. And for someone that is self-conscious, can identify that, okay, probably this is not a good environment for me to work. As much as we have such an organization, we also have other organizations that are well structured and they have like system in place in selections. But I think at the end of the day, what I would, if there's something that stick to me for a very long time, which is being self-aware and self-conscious, in the sense that she mentioned about we should look into the educational system, which is very much important. But there are some things that is outside our reach. Everyone here, how much can we do to correct the educational system? There's not much. But one thing that is powerful is that how much can we do as a person, right? So if our educational system is not where it is at the moment, you as a person, as an individual, what are you doing to ensure that you are building better, right? So, and at that point, if you are building better and you're self-aware, you're self-conscious, you would be able to effect the little change in your own way, and those little change can then escalate to be something big.
All right, let's take a pause on that. We're still talking about the educational system and whether or not it actually really pays as much as it used to. We're not disputing the fact that education is important, but now it feels like the hustle culture is actually topping it. And there are so many other things to talk about in this same conversation. So the educational conversation has different branches, like you've seen. So there's so many other things that we would need to dissect here. But very quickly, we want to take a quick break. This is Fafanua Afrika, the show that spotlights the youth, their challenges, their opportunities, and this is one of the challenges we're discussing. Stay tuned, because we'll be right back. Now, they say education is important, and we've established that. But the question is it important enough to depend on? Now, we have talked extensively about whether or not the hustle culture is stopping the educational institution, especially on the African continent. And we've tried to answer several questions. Now, the next question is, we've had so many debates about the reason people do not do well after school is because they did not focus more while in school. So what I'm saying is, if you're not a first-class student or you didn't graduate with good grades, maybe you won't get a job. But let's find out, is that really true? Because we know tons of first-class students who also struggle to get jobs and do not even have hopes of getting jobs when they're done with school. So the question is, does the same principle apply to those who do extremely well in school and those who actually do averagely? Let's find out from our audience. Very quickly, what do you think? Do you think that your grades determine how well you do after school?
Hi, I'm Clinton. Personally, I don't think it's a one-to-one relationship. Right? It can be quite personally, I feel your grades definitely give you a better chance at landing better jobs and also seeking for better offers as well. But like we've mentioned earlier, there are a lot of other things that are needed in today's economy to woo your employers to get employed and also perform very well at your job. You need to have good soft skills, probably some years of experience doing internship. On this particular note, people do not give the school system credit that there's already internship embedded in many courses. Like as an engineering student, I did 6 months internship, and I did other personal internships that were, able to train me better and give me the skills that I needed for, the workplace. So, going into interviews, I have that on my CV. I'm not just going there to tell you that, oh, I just finished alone. I'll tell you I've worked here, I've done this, and these are the things I've learned. And I feel that alongside my good grades has given me, an edge in the job market.
Anyone else?
In my own best opinion, and I'm a subjective type, so my response to that is that one's grade determines what the future has for the person. So in whichever whichever university or whichever institution you find yourself, just make sure you amass that high grade. So it will give you leverage over and above every other person outside there. So, and it's not dependent on that grade alone. So aside grade, so another thing to be attached to it is those skills that we've been emphasizing on ever since the start of this. So both the soft skill and the hard skill. So this is like, okay, when the employers or the interviewers, they they approach you or you approach them. So you are being asked that what do you have to offer aside your grade. So you have other things to point out that, okay, aside working hard for this high grades, I have this skill, I have this skill, I have this skill. So it doesn't limit to you having that grade alone, but I believe that grade alone would open doors for you. So that's all those big firms, all those big companies, you can never have access to them if you are that person that believes that whatever grade you have is whatever grade you have. You need to have that high grade that will open that doors for you, those doors for you. So after the doors have been opened, so what else do you have to offer that would give you what exactly you are aspiring for, what exactly you are clamoring for at that particular place? So that's just the kind of person. That's my opinion, though.
Okay, my name is Daniel, and I'm from University of Lagos. So in my own opinion, I would say that education alone is not just the one that would take you to get the job that you want to have. Like, it's just like a 50% of everything. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm a mass communication student, and I'm also a media interviewer. And I'm still a student, and there was this job that I was looking for. Then I didn't have the certificate yet. I'm not done with my university. So then I went there. I told them that, okay, I can do this. I've been able to interview at this place, at that place. They were just wowed at what I can do. And I was like, okay, we'll give it a try and all of that. And after a try, I got the job. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that education only is not the bedrock for success. It's just like a 50% of it. You still need other things like the skill acquisition and all of that. For me personally, in my department, we have something that we do. We have something like opportunity corners, and this is basically where that they post opportunities either for internship and all of that, so you can apply and all of that. So I personally, I do apply and all of that, and with that, I had that to my CV, the one that I have on ground. Yeah. Thank you.
We'll come back here.
Basically, I'm actually very, very subjective also, and I will stand on the point of as an employer. So there was a time I was with one of my uncles, he's an employer, and somebody came that, okay, he's looking for a job and all. The first thing is that, what do you came out from school from? What actually comes to his mind is that if you are somebody that you pass through a particular place in life, like 4 years, and you could not even bring out that, oh, you've been able to handle it to a certain extent, then now how do you think you handle my own particular company? So that's the subjective way that he's putting in his head that, okay, so you come out, you said you graduated with a third class, then how do you expect me to trust you with my company? That's the thing that comes out from the employer's mind. But basically, I can usually say categorically that education sometimes is just the one that will get you to the place, but what keeps you inside that particular place and develop you more is your personal skills and what you've learned so far.
I would say it's partially, and having a 2 is a plus, in the sense that grades doesn't make you a better person than the other person. Grades is something that is just used for a specific purpose. It's just a classroom stuff. It's a classroom work. Yes, you got 10 over 10. I got 6. That doesn't mean I can't, like, I'm not. That doesn't mean you are better than me. Fine, you got 10. I got 6. I could do other things you might not even have heard of. So grades makes you feel like, yes, you are on top. You are this, you are that. Grades is good, no doubt. It's good. This gives you opportunities, jobs, and all that. But then when you're looking for a job, it's not about what can you do. Let's ask ourselves, what have you done? What have I done? Now you are looking for a job and you are my company, you are probably a first class education, and I'm like, okay, what have you done? Stop telling me what can you do. I'm here to see what you can do. Oh, please show me what have you done. Where's your portfolio? How many startups have you started? How many innovations have you thought about? How many things have you tried to invent? How many things have you done? How many things have you thought of? Okay, what if I do it this way? So that is what have you done, not what can you do, not what. That's like you are still building, and then I have a company that I have built. So I'm not looking for people who are still building. I'm looking for people who are ready to build, or people who have built. So please, what have you done? Show me what you've done. Then maybe I might take you serious. So it's about what grades is good. That's a plus. But then what have you done so that at least we can build or grow together? Thank you.
I will not counter anybody's motion because everybody has said something excellently well. Firstly, this is 2026. We are not in 1995 or 1805 that education works alone. Like I said in the other last series, I mentioned that, having grades is fine, but then, having something to back it up is very, very important. There is one of those speakers that says, having something that can keep you inside that workplace is very, very important. The of attitude, resilience, those soft skills is what is going to keep you. It's not just that grade that you are here in school and you are able to acquire it. Look at Lagos State government. They launched what we call Ready Set Work, and Ready Set Work has been an initiative that has been running for a long years, and it's something that a lot of young people have been able to benefit from it. From there, they also launched graduate internship program. So which means that they are telling you that just your grade, either you have a BSc or a particular course, is no more enough, but to ensure that you have something that you can use to back it up. Thank you.
Okay, just to quickly add to that, I think what we're trying. Firstly, my name is Joseph. I'm the General Secretary of the Mass Communication Students Association. So just to quickly add to that, I need us to first sort of disintegrate the job market, because there are some career paths that do not require talking about grades at all. You're not going to ask you anything about it. I mean, when you're applying to be a graphics designer or stuff like that, what you need is just your CV, your portfolio. In fact, most jobs just require that you submit your CV, your cover letter, your resume, what have you. They do not require you to bring your transcripts from your secondary school or your university. But there are certain jobs that don't have that kind of portfolio line and resume line. So your grade serves as your portfolio. So if you're applying to be a doctor or something of that sort, your grades would be very heavily needed compared to other jobs that are more practical. So I mean, you've been talking about practicality all along. There are some jobs that are way more practical. So it is your portfolio, your CV, your resume that details all of this experience together, compared to when you're now comparing your grades. So I just need us to understand that, okay, there's no one size fits all for the entire job market. It's disintegrated.
Beautiful. Grades are extremely important. But in whatever you do, just make sure that even if you get a D in school, you don't get a D in life. That is the most important thing. So you can be a first-class student and still fail in life. Yes, so grade is not I like what he said, is not one size fits all. But the most important thing is how much of a success you want to be in real life. Are you aware that based on research, it has been established that people with greater EQ are more successful than those with bigger IQ? So you see a lot of people with a very high IQ working, being employers for those with the biggest EQ, those who understand management, those who understand the infatuators, the people who understand leadership. So they are making all of those coins. You are working hard with your own logic and your brain and your genius for those who understand how to manage you. People who understand the psychology of human being. People who understand how to get what? Results. Yeah.
So before we move, I would like to counter what my beloved sister just said now regarding, because I'm an advocate of good grade, so, and I would always stand by it. So she said there is this she mentioned something that there is a research or something that says those who people with people okay, this is it. I know everyone would agree with me that if you are tall, you cannot achieve that A, you cannot achieve that excellence. So why is it that myself and you, we both have that same head, and you read for that same exam, you had a D, and I wrote for that same exam, I had I had an A. Do you understand? So what did I put in place to answer the question that stands out to have made me get that A that you did not have? So let's not complicate these things. Good grade, we shouldn't underrate it. So I would always stand on it that for you to open that door. And I would also go by what my fellow brother just said regarding, okay, there are some jobs that require you to have grades, and there are some exactly. So like what one of the brothers said here, that okay, as a mechanical engineering student, that how many of those who have studied mechanical engineering and they came out with good grades can actually repair a faulty. So maybe that's like that line of what's it called, that line of field, you understand? However, when it comes to courses like law, So you can't tell me that you don't have that good grade and you want to open that door. So that's just it.
Okay, so I would say that this whole thing boils down to the practicality. Schools focus more on practical knowledge more than theoretical. Like Joseph said, he said some jobs have more practicality over others. Like a doctor now, you having grades is what requires you to work in any hospital. But those grades, how do you get them? You have to be practical. You have to go to hospitals, actual work, like do actual work on people's bodies. You don't just read and have good grades and like that's it. Grades opening doors for you. It's only the only doors that grades open for you are doors that we know that those grades, how you got them was by being practical. Law students, in order for you to have be a lawyer and have those grades, you must have practicalized whatever it is you are studying. You must have gone to the court, you must have actually debated and won cases, even if it's informal cases or local cases. You must have won something for you to get that high grades, especially in university. Okay.
I often say grades don't make you great. And the reason is not far-fetched. It's because we need to understand that we have a functional, dysfunctional educational system in Nigeria. It's not just only a functional, dysfunctional home. We have been so wired to believe that because this person has a D in mathematics, they are a failure or they are set up for failing. And that's like a big thing that I think it's also a measure that we need to understand. I've also come to understand that we have been so wired to see those who do so well intelligently in class as a villain. So when you see somebody like super intelligent with the ability to talk, they are super confident, they can take the stage, you're looking at them and you're like, everybody in class will be like, who be this person? I better go sit down. That's like the average mentality of students in the university, in the polytechnic, across major spaces. And that's like a functional, dysfunctional error that needs to be corrected. So if you're saying grades is the only thing or the access points to success, I think we have a lot of work to do in the educational system.
Sorry. So while he was talking about grades, they said something at the back that actually made perfect sense. We have a system whereby not everything is gotten in the right manner. So for example, if someone bought that grade, I paid for it, and at the end of the day, you had maybe a 1 point something and you paid for a 5 point something grade, and then you get to the organization you want to work for. Why do you think some people actually ask that what can you do except from that grade? Because many people may have bought that grade, they don't know, they don't go to the same school with you, they have no idea if you got the grade. And that is why the school have a system of CWES and IT for you to go out. And I know most of us have this mentality that, oh, I can't do a job if they don't pay me, I can't do a job if I can't volunteer for a job if they don't pay me. It is actually very necessary so that you can also, apart from boosting your grade, so that you can also have an experience of what you want to do.
Okay, so practically there's a difference between my name is Theodora, and I feel there's a difference between being educated and being educated. Like she has said, some people buy the grades, some people cheat during exams to get good grades. If everything is just about good grades, it's very easy to cheat or sit down beside someone that is very smart and copy out everything. And being educated in the sense, this second type of education is like knowing, having the knowledge of what you're doing, like what you're practicing. Practice what you are studying and everything, not just about good grades or whatever. You have to have the knowledge of what you're actually doing.
Okay, I'll make this very short, right? I believe that greatness is not achieved in isolation. And I don't like really having conversations with a lot of people because opinion starts flying around. You come from your personal opinion to give a suggestion, which, yes, might be very true to you, but might not be true to a lot of people. But one thing I'm very sure, I'm very certain about, and is the fact is that collaboration is what achieves greatness. Great is a factor among so many factors that achieve the success. So it can be only determinant, but it's also a part of determinants. Thank you.
Okay, Macaulay Emanuela. Well, adding to what she said, this grade of a thing, you know, it's not like buying the grade. Then how can you, when you want to go and apply for a job, can you defend it? not saying, okay, great. What about the practical skills? They'll say, okay, I'm not even looking at the school you graduated from. The practical skills you have that, okay, this company you're coming to apply for, what can you bring to it to improve the growth of the company? Not just grades. Can your practical skill, can it help the development of the company?
Yes.
My name is Toy. I'm from Lagos State University. Can you guys hear me? I don't think it's about the grade, actually. It's not really about the grade. I guess at times it works for some people. I've seen it open doors for several people. Yes, the grade works. But however, it's about how you build yourself while you were in school, what you were doing, who you were moving with. Are you building a good relationship with people? Are you working out? Are you networking? Are you volunteering? Are you holding a post that makes impact? That if you add to your CV, okay, I've done this. I've served as a PR of a particular union, as a mass communication student. It will open doors for you without your grades. So, and I want to contribute on about education and hustling. Sorry. So, for me, actually, education and hustling is not something different at all. They are interwoven. They are same thing for me, because there is hustling in the education also. If you graduate, okay, you leave your LLB today, you graduate from your LLB and you not further for law school, you are not getting anything from that profession. Or you graduate from sociology today and you stay as a BSc there for 10 years and you meet that graduated with you. They're already doing their masters, some are doing PhD already, some are doing them in their this thing already. So it's about
someone mentioned earlier that good grades will open the door for you, and I think that thing is often confused, like what it actually means. So there are various roles that are called graduate trainee roles. So when I'm coming to such companies, they feel, okay, you don't actually know what it takes to work here, but let us train you. So for an employer, the best way they can actually find out that you are trainable is that you went to university or a school and you learned and achieved, you did excellently while you were there. And that's why, like, good grades can actually be a very good door opener. Then, extra things that we've mentioned, like your hustle culture, your character, which you can also build very well while you're in school, will now, give you the staying grace there, right? When you approach the job with such character.
Fortunately, we have run out of time. We'll continue this conversation next week, so stay tuned for the next episode. But we're still talking about the education. Conversation will still continue right after this, but we're still talking about the education culture. Would you hire someone with good grades, or would you hire someone who you know is more practically able to do the job? This has been Fafanua Afrika. I'll go back now to continue the conversation. Join us in our subsequent episodes as we bring you the topic that focuses mainly on the youth, the challenges, the opportunities, and of course, we try to prefer solutions. I'm Blessings Mosugu. Join us in our subsequent episodes. See you then.